What we've done is we've created a reservable IoT platform where by IoT device you get a reservation to control that device for a certain period of time.
My first impressions are you should be selling this to every customer we have.
Right.
What this allows for is instantaneous authentication and use of any new system that may come out.
Cameron, I'm not to put too many words in your mouth, but when he said, when Google first saw this, was, where were you 2 years ago? Right, all of my customers have this.
We couldn't agree with that more, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, no, I think it's amazing. It's really cool. I think anytime you can deliver like a more personalized experience at scale, it's a win for everybody involved.
The level of personalization here, I mean, we're just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
Content becomes product and service, not just media.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I can now deliver content anywhere. I can get through this door because the hotel said so and because you said so. So your food is waiting in that refrigerator with the suit in the closet and your laundry picked up, and with no staff.
Yeah, it's powerful.
It's very powerful. It's really the journey of journeys that we talked about, I think, in December.
Will, I can't reiterate enough, and to everybody in the room, how excited we are about this, and this is a fantastic product, and we're very excited to get behind this. You know, this is a completely new greenfield opportunity for a lot of folks to capture shared spaces, absolutely without a doubt. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit there, and this is something that really can change the way people view, see, and interact with content, and we're very excited about it. And I can tell you from the digital designer's perspective here at Google, this is something we've been waiting for a very long time. This is something that we've been asked about. You know, streaming some kind of TV service or anything like that on Chrome has not been a really easy solution to get that done between licensing and this and that, and you know, as the other gentleman spoke about casting and all that stuff. It's just a very friction-filled experience to get that done. As to where this is so simple, this is so easy. You know, we envision screens being everywhere in the future. You know, we've all seen Minority Report, we've all seen those future movies where there's just a digital personalized screen everywhere. This is that next evolutionary step, we feel, to getting there.
From space to space with a consistent branded identity that is totally unique on a one-to-one basis, and get you off of this little screen and onto big screens and get you through doors that you couldn't get through, and basically build the city of the future. Oh wait, Red. Oh, there he goes. Okay, cool. So we set out what, Charlie, we've been speaking since I think December, right?
Right.
Last year,
November,
when we first
December,
met.
yeah.
And the theory went that we had some locking technology that we were developing, some television technology that we were developing, and we knew that to do this right was going to need to be bringing together a CRM-oriented approach, obviously because it's very much a B2B play, right? Because these are business-owned spaces, whether they're Ubers or elevators or whatever. These are not homes. These are businesses that are going to be buying this technology. And we wanted to build a truly browser-oriented strategy, both for the phone and for the television. So that's what brought us over to our friends at Google. Cam runs the Google for Signage program at Google, which is all about this Chrome OS ecosystem. The beauty of that is it's an incredibly inexpensive thin client strategy for the television, and what you're going to obviously be thinking is Heroku is basically a thin client strategy for everything else. So if you really put those two pieces together, what Google's bringing to the table with their thin client capabilities, and what Salesforce is bringing to the table, you're talking about data on data on data, but we're talking about a new kind of internet too, an internet that is incredibly focused on space and shared space and captive audiences and the ability to move people on and off those captive spaces very quickly with a lot of big screens for advertising and media streaming purposes and access control. And we believe that we've got kind of the holy grail right here with this. And then the other big piece of this is it's appless. So how are you going to interact and integrate in with that phone of that guest for that at that second to give them control for 15 minutes or 2 hours or however long we're talking about? SMS or messenger services is the right way to get that done, because you're not asking them to download an app. So you can either ask them to scan a QR code, which is easy to put places, but people here in the country aren't really used to that, right? They're used to doing the process I just did to get Wi-Fi, which is I put in a code and I get a text message, which is fun, which is great. Maybe, I don't know if that's you guys doing that, but you'll see that as part of this process I'm going to show you, we're very much beholden to SMS. We're beholden to pretty much everything but apps. And we think that's because if you're going to get in an Uber or a hotel room or move from space to space to space, you need to have the most open possible architecture and ecosystem you possibly can. If Amazon did this, they would just build a city and everything would be on Alexa and it would be all Amazon and Amazon and Amazon. But I think the value of this is we're creating a B2B platform that anybody can come on to. And as you start to see this technology, I know this is really the first time a lot of you will see this in person. Some of you have seen mini demos and videos, but the power of this thing is unbelievable. So the first thing is I did text myself using Nexmo, a text message that came through because I now have a reservation until I think about 10 p.m. Eastern time to access these locks and manage this television. All right, so that's the first big idea that we have. What's that? Hi, hello, who joined?
Well, no, it's Rich. I just joined from another number.
Oh, okay, cool. So I'm gonna get dropped into an authentication screen. And this is really important. Obviously, we can text you a link that is unique to you and creates authentication that way, or we can force you through some kind of authentication protocol. Right now, we're supporting Facebook OAuth. We're gonna be supporting Google OAuth by the end of next week. And we're supporting, type in some essentially passcode. In this case, it's obviously your cell phone number. So I'm gonna use Facebook to do that, and you'll see that I had this reservation, okay? And I'm gonna talk about what this is gonna let me do, right? That's what's up here on this agenda. One, that reservation is sort of core to this entire strategy. It's what allows you to have this overlapping control. You have an Uber driver, right? They need to have sort of primary control over the audio and video of their vehicle. And then you have these short reservations as people get into the vehicle 10, 15 minutes at a time. You really have this overlapping management of that space. It's the same thing for hotel rooms, conference rooms. This gets reapplied over and over and over again. At the very base level, we said we want to be able to deploy a paper-based approach to this reservation for access control. Why? Because of package delivery and because of printing your own keys, like going to the airport, right? I want to be able to access this space on this reservation with something as simple as that. So this was the first huge idea. And for those of you, I think, Kev, you've seen this, right? This is a really novel idea that you could get access to space, whether that's a trunk or a conference room or a hotel room or any kind of space, and you can hold this up and open this door merely based on paper. This was a huge first idea for us because the conversation we're having with Ford is I want to be able to put my spare key into one of these modular units. And when a package comes from USPS or Kroger or Amazon or whoever, that we can print the key onto the box, you can hold the box up to the vehicle, this will scan and it will push down on the trunk, unlock button, and the trunk will open. Fords don't get shipped with internet access. This is the mechanism that they are doing it. So that's actually running on Heroku, okay? The reservation management system is running on Heroku. The text message piece is running on Nexmo, right? So that's the first big piece of authentication. The next piece, obviously, is, well, I'm not interested in using a piece of paper. I want to use my phone to access these doors or this space, all right? And I'm running Chrome browser, right? I'm not running an app, so I didn't have to download an app. I opened up your text message, and now I'm suddenly able to open doors. So the first one I have is, which one did I do here? Door 1. Which obviously won't work on door 2, right? Because I have different reservations and I can go to door 2, same idea. Now, the reason why this is important is because mortise locks are hard, right? These are, if you go to a hotel mortise manufacturer and you get a Bluetooth enabled version of the lock that they have in Hilton's, you're going to be spending $800 a unit. $800 a unit. We can sell these at $229 MSRP. We get them at $95 a pop. So this is an internet-enabled lock that doesn't need an app and doesn't need wireless to interact with it. And it is the fully outfitted mortise. So this is very important if you're in my offices, if you're talking about hotel rooms, if you're talking about anything like that. This one is great because this is the one we're fixing modularly to lockers or to the vehicle solution, right? This can be basically plugged into anything because it's separated. This last one is pretty cool. This is the one we're showing to WeWork. This one is for a glass door conference room. So the trick with this is you have a reservation on that door, but that's a glass door. Like at WeWork, they're all glass doors, right? At Spaces, they're glass doors. So I want to be able to open this guy up. I know it's speaking Chinese, but that's because. Now the door is open, right, when this swings, which means that thing isn't gonna unlock or relock. But as soon as the door fastens back, it locks again, right? And as you can imagine, because this is an exit strategy, so this has the nice easy there, and then it has an electric button as well. So you better believe that when we were speaking, yesterday, it's like this is such an obvious shared spaces solution. But the front-facing scanner is this module here. So all of the software is sitting on this. All the chip is this. So this or that is all you need, plus the plunger solution to open a vehicle. This is all you need on the locker. You wouldn't believe the price that we're getting this on. So people are talking a lot today about Edge AI and Edge ML and Edge whatever. This is what that is. This is a computer that's sitting at the edge that's capable of literally giving access control on a reservation basis that we can text. And that's really why we wanted to send the barcodes by MMS, so you don't even have to take the trouble to get all the way down into an app. So that first big idea is all those things, right? That you have lock access control with all of these goodies, and by the way, as you can imagine, wireless keys and are still capable. But then we said, well, once you're in a space, like what differentiates a Macy's from a JCPenney? Well, because it says Macy's or JCPenney on the wall, right? So we want to be able to actually have this huge distributed branding solution, and Google actually, you guys make a great platform for this, right? You can plug these into TVs, connect them to the wireless network, and you can get a kiosk app, and then you can distribute blanket advertising on a wholesale basis, to those computers. But what these don't know is they don't know where they are and who they are. And on that basis, they can't then be given control. So you'll note that I have 4 locks on my reservation, but I also have 2 televisions on my reservation. One of them is programmed to my computer on the Chrome browser there, and the other one is this Chrome bit here. So the whole general theory is I want to be able to quickly get control over this television because I have a reservation to do so. And what you just saw is me doing that, and I'm not on the same internet network as that TV. So all I had to do was get a text message for a couple of hours to control it, and now I'm logged into my Netflix. And you can see, of course, right, what's happening here. And this is running on Heroku. This is like Heroku TV. Okay, it's taking what's on that screen, and you can see it's great when there's a fast internet connection, but it actually works great when there's not, because it's not relying on my cell phone for internet. The internet access for this is coming over the tower's Wi-Fi. I'm on T-Mobile, so I am not connected by Wi-Fi or Bluetooth to that television, and I'm not running an app. So just think about all the crap that we've removed from this is like the typical situation, right? Please download this application, please blah, 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 right? We got rid of all of that. Please connect to this wireless network. Please, pair it with Bluetooth. We got rid of all of that. Now I'm just able to do this, and I'm able to do all the things that you would typically think, because this is also an HTML5 web page. So we don't have to have an app on the television. There are no apps on the television. I'm just interacting from my phone with the HTML on this page. And I'm able to take this all the way down to a movie. Now we optimize Netflix, right? We built our own optimization for Netflix. But any web developer can optimize their own web page to support this approach. So I have functionality and activity here on my phone, and I have large screen media and audio on the TV. And if you think about like the future of web development in this context, what it means is I'm able to put intelligent media here that is hyper-personalized and retargeted, and I'm able to give you actionability here and readability here, right? Because you're gonna read and control from here. And then once you're done, let me pull up a couple of links here just so I can start to show you. So imagine I'm watching my Netflix, right? I'm in a university, I'm in my dorm room, and I'm watching my Netflix or I'm listening to my music or whatever, but then the university has a live broadcast, right? They want to take control of the stream. So let me pull up some links that I have here. Here we go. So imagine that we have, let's do this one. So we were at Draper University earlier today. They had this like gamification of the way they do their educational program there, because it's an entrepreneurial program. So, okay, I'm watching my Netflix, but then they take over the stream and they say, here's an update. The scores of the program have changed. All right? We can put anything on that TV and interrupt the stream because, in a sense, you now have this capability where, yes, I'm on here on my personalization, but somebody manages this space, and they get to define, at the end of the day, what really is popping up here. This works, and I'd like you to sort of take a big step back and think of the last time you used a Roku, or used a Fire Stick, or used a Chromecast, all the steps we're taking out in the middle of this. This works on any web page. And once there's content up on this web page, it comes back and puts onto my phone all of the selections, right, that are on that screen for me to actually make my choice. What do I want to do next? Well, we have a bit of a collaboration going with T-Mobile, and they told us that YouTube makes up 60% of their traffic. 60% of their traffic, right? So imagine getting into a vehicle and being able to just quickly put your YouTube on a little screen that's right there, that's connected through an aux cable to the speakers. But knowing that the Uber driver has ultimate control. And the Uber driver can interrupt the stream and get a piece of the advertising, right? Because in a sense, you're now stuck in their car. They should get a piece of that. These are the kinds of business models that this television now enables you to do. And of course, you know, I have my actionability here on my phone, but look at how much bigger the screen is. And look at how much bigger the speakers are. So now I really have that captive audience, and I can revoke control from the guest on demand. So the moment I lose my control expires, I'm off. I no longer can control the TV. So these are the two big ideas that we're promoting, right? You have the lock, which gives you physical access on an internet-controlled basis, and you have the TV, which gives you those things. But the big idea here, when you say, okay, what is ATMOS talking about when we merge these two pieces? Right, this is what we've been talking about with what happens when you take CRM and you merge it with Chrome in space, in physical space. You're talking about a new kind of internet and a new kind of application. So let me put up one more piece of content up here. I was on the phone recently with Kroger, with the person who runs home delivery and their competitive program with Amazon Fresh and with Fresh Direct and so on. And one of the things that we talked about was how complex it is to promote these programs and then to deal with the food delivery and the fact that stuff is perishable and so on. I'm waiting for one drive to do its thing. There it goes. Imagine the following feedback loop. You have
That's me.
That's fine.
I'm tweeting you.
Imagine the following feedback loop. You're stuck in a captive space with a large, intelligent advertisement that knows who you are and knows where you are. You're in this vehicle, you're in this bathroom, you're in this hotel room, you're here. And I'm not on your phone where I'm competing with your text messages and your tweets and all your other notifications. I've got you on this huge television with audio and video, and I know who you are because you're reserved for that, right? And you're controlling that, and I'm gonna present to you a large screen, high definition video that says you should take this service, you should buy this service. Now, where are you gonna take action? Because you can't touch the screen because that's just a regular old television. You don't have a mouse and a keyboard because there's no mouse and keyboard. You're gonna take action on your phone, okay? You're gonna take action here, maybe through a text message. Yes, I would like that service. Well, what is that service? That's a delivery service, right? To put healthy food in your refrigerator in your hotel room. The first time that that's ever happened in the history of the universe, right? So the feedback loop is this shipper now gets a barcode to get through your door into your space. Well, what else are we doing, right? We're producing a CRM data set that's never existed before. All right? And we're doing so in a way we're not siloing this data in the slightest. There's no apps, right? We're on browsers here, so we get all the cookie factors here, and we could be on a browser here. We're likely on a browser here, at least until we get chatbot working properly. So we get cookies here and here. This is actually one stream, two screens on a one-to-one advertising basis. This is really the big idea, all right? it's not just about having cheap, cool internet-connected locks that are way cheaper and better than everybody else's. It's not just about having Netflix on your television and not having to download an app. It's CRM meets signage meets smart meets space, okay? And we call this XR.City. And XR is a term that's being bandied about by a lot of people in the VR community and the AR community, but what they're talking about is a digital twin. They're talking about digital, right? Those of us who are like in industry would say that's a digital strategy. So XR, in my mind, is a freehand for a truly digital capability. And this is all packaged and running on Heroku right now. And it's running on Nexmo right now. And it's running on Chrome right now. And the only little thick piece of this entire architecture is there's an extension that has to run on this, right? But that's managed remotely, and it's really simple, and it runs in kiosk mode on this TV. So that's the only tiny little deployed software. Everything else is totally thin. This is thin, right, at the edge. That's thin at the edge, except for that. So I wanted to take this opportunity because, you know, we're pitching a number of hotels in Manhattan. We should have a purchase order from 2 hotels tomorrow. We should have a purchase order from Draper University tomorrow here, which is residences, offices, classrooms. It's in San Mateo. But we look at this and we say, what could be more interesting than a network of hundreds of thousands of networked activated spaces, whether they be vehicles or hotel rooms or WeWork offices or whatever, where you can just float from space to space without ever having to get into a data silo, with being able to use identity management from Google or Facebook or text message or whatever, and never have to download an app. And have this relationship with these big screens that you've never really been able to have before. Let me flip back to the other slide. Because I want to make sure I hit all of the big pieces here. One of the things that people ask me sometimes when we show this is, how is this IoT? Because it's not obviously IoT, because people think IoT is like Google Nest and RFID tags and so on, but really what we've done is we've created a reservable IoT platform, where by IoT device you get a reservation to control that device for a certain period of time. So that means if they're running Google Nest and they're in a hotel, you obviously can't have them download an app to control the Google Nest because there's only one wireless network, right? So you're gonna have to hit the API for all those Google Nests. If you're managing RFID tagged inventory wirelessly, you want to track that. You need to be able to know these RFID tags go with this sensor unit, right? And therefore are reserved for you. So if you take that Coca-Cola and you leave with it, you bought it. So these are the kinds of things that are ultimately just, this is an envelope for reservations for IoT devices that gives you that distributed control. Other big ideas here. So we've built into this Service Cloud integration. So one of the things that I have is this create case button in my little mini sort of web page app here. And if I create a case and I say I am complaining, Charlie's gonna get an email in a minute.
He always complains to me.
Yeah.
It says, I have a new ticket in Service Cloud, right? It says, you have a complaint, but wait, let me just actually get this to work.
Over the web that you're doing that? Or?
Yeah. So I'm populating a Service Cloud ticket, which creates an email, obviously, but just what's so cool about that is now all of this activity is sitting in the cloud, it's now pushing over to Service Cloud. All right, so that's a big idea. There it is. ATMOS guest has an issue, it knows who I am, Will Donovan, on Will's space, so it knows where I am. Has submitted a case with a message, I am complaining. Customer ID is 14. So that's in Salesforce now. So if that's, this bathroom is dirty, this Uber is dirty, this conference room is populated by somebody who's not supposed to be here, now that data is connected to the IoT identity of this television or this lock or whatever, because we know this person must be making that complaint in front of this lock because this is the lock that they're trying to open right now. So you don't need GPS to figure out where they are because you know exactly where they are. We can just as easily, because this is a simulcast, say your complaint has been filed on this TV because we know that you're reserved on this TV and you're watching this TV. So that's a big piece of this. And then the other big piece is getting into Einstein and image recognition, right? If we put a camera in here, then I know that you had this reservation for this conference room and you open this door and this room is messy because we are actually watching the image recognition pick that up. So this becomes a mechanism to connect the sinews of Salesforce's various platforms. It also becomes a mechanism to connect the sinews of Google's various platforms. So, imagine a conference space like Spaces or WeWork where you just walk right up and you buy the conference room right there on Google Pay, and then you get the barcode right there. You may now open this door, right? What we're really moving towards is a world where you have truly unstaffed spaces that can be served by any third party. So that space can be cleaned by hand, right? You can deliver that barcode there. I really appreciate you guys looking at this. What are some of the things that pop up in your mind? I know this is a big idea, but you can see, it's feasible. We're running on Salesforce, we're running on Google, we have the TV platform working, we have the lock platform working, we have the SMS and Messenger platform working, so everything's working. This is just waiting for somebody to come along and scale it. The accounts we're talking to are WeWork, or Ford, or Marriott, but realistically, any B2B entity that has a consumer interface with highly shared spaces, whether that's a mall, or a restaurant, or a nightclub, or whatever, that's just relevant to all of that. So this is why we wanted to take this opportunity, and Charlie, you've seen some of this, but I don't think you've seen this all kind of come together. What are your first impressions of this?
My first impressions are you should be selling this to every customer we have.
Right, I agree. This is a Salesforce product. This is a Google product. We're just integrating pieces. Cameron, I'm not to put too many words in your mouth, but when he said, when Google first saw this, was, where were you 2 years ago? Right, all of my customers want this.
I couldn't agree with that more. Absolutely.
Right. So I know that as a small business, we're also just trying to platform the crap out of this. We don't want to take responsibility for security and scalability, and so that's why we're working with our partners. And so this is just a go-to-market thing. This is, we're ready to go to market. For us, this is about getting purchase orders, but we're getting pushed around right now by a big account, right? A big account is not paying what I would think of as close enough attention to us because we're a little ATMOS, but I would like to think that they would pay a lot of attention to you if you got in the middle of it. And I think that's the case for a lot of account managers at Salesforce and for a lot of account managers at Google. So this is why we've chosen, and I think a lot of account managers have on it. So I know there's a lot of moving pieces, but at the end of the day, the word we're using to describe it is digital or IoT or whatever is not good enough. This is supposed to be fun, magical, easy to develop, right? Imagine you're sitting at CNN.com and somebody says, you need to do smart TV. Okay, I have to support Apple and Amazon and Roku and all these different fractured environments, right? Oh, and I want you to be able to cast to that. Okay, so I have to support iPhone and I have to support Android. And you say, no. Your web developer can use CSS and JavaScript to activate, just like we did with Netflix, your web page to support this approach. There's no complexity whatsoever, right? That YouTube already practically works. And that was just free. Like, we haven't done anything to optimize YouTube, and it works great. So we know that when we go out and speak to people about smart TV alone, this is a huge capability, because they don't have to support apps to do it. They don't have to support apps for logging. They don't have to support apps for this and that and the other. So Charlie, I hope that if it's not you, it's somebody to marshal that very idea that you just said, which is, yeah, I agree, most CRM-oriented B2B players could find a lot of future capability with this stack. Whether it's just a TV, whether it's just a lock, or better, that it's a combination of the two. Anything else that you think you want to add in on this?
No, my thoughts are on Twitter. I just been tweeting. That's why you're getting all these notifications.
Oh, that's good.
I try to summarize what you were talking about on Twitter. So I think that'll stand alone
Good.
in eternity.
From
Until I believe it. No.
the conversation we were having yesterday about shared office space.
Yeah.
Clearly, this is a huge opportunity for shared office space.
I have a question. In terms of the QR codes that
Mhm.
you send out, is that tied to an identity of the user? Because I'm thinking about the use case of somebody coming to your house with a second QR code. If that device doesn't have internet on it, how are you maintaining a new user that has access and defining that amount of time without speaking to it?
All hotels have offline locks.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they work is there's an algorithm running in the lock that is synchronized with the reservation key generator.
Mhm.
In our case, the reservation key generator is sitting in the cloud,
Got it.
right? And you program the lock, like all locks are then, sometimes some have gizmos, right, that you can plug it in. In our case, we hold up a barcode when we first install, and that has the API key and the API password and the time zone and the identity of the lock.
Gotcha. So you're basically just taking that pre-existing algorithm
Correct.
and then
Correct, and so they're synchronized.
Yeah.
We are going to introduce a model next quarter that sends BLE messages out,
Mhm.
but that still doesn't mean it's connected to the internet inbound. So there is no inbound internet connection. All of the programming is done upfront.
Yes.
I think the main reason why hotels prefer it that way is because it's secure and it doesn't drain battery, because these are, all of these are running on battery operated, whatever. If you wanna drill a door and put power over to the mortise, it like quadruples the
Yeah.
cost of the project. So if you have thousands of doors in your commercial properties, it's really expensive to wire electrically. So, the difference between $1,000 a door and $100 a door.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think, sorry, Will. if I
Go ahead, Bill. Yeah, Bill knows all about this.
I mean, some of the other challenges from the hotel space, this is Bill from Mode Green. We do about 90% of our business is in the luxury hospitality and integration market for audiovisual, energy management, and all sorts of different hospitality-based technologies. And one of the things that when Will and I first started talking, this solves multiple problems. One of them being sort of the big challenge we see in people using their own mobile devices for room control, specifically to control their lights, temperature, so forth, is how do you authenticate their personal mobile device into the room? And this solves that obviously by the QR authentication and tags their mobile device specifically to their room for a specific amount of time, which is very difficult in existing hotel room infrastructure and hotel network infrastructure. Furthermore, when you look at the casting pieces, I know Will touched on this a little bit earlier, but it took Marriott about 2 years to get to the approval process of allowing Netflix to be embedded in their set-top boxes for not only for account recognition and access of your own content in a hotel room, but also for casting services. So there's Chromecast, there's other things, there's a bunch of kludgy ways to do this, most of which require either an independent SSID per room or some other kind of authentication system that's just not, it's certainly not cheap, and it requires a ton of IT infrastructure and support. You're using the hotel's own personal Wi-Fi, you're having to authenticate room by room, so there's a bunch of issues that have to come along with that, including having to log your own credentials into the room itself, which people are kind of not thrilled about either. So what was so interesting to us about this is if you look at that 2-year time frame of integrating Netflix in the hotel room, what this allows for is instantaneous authentication and use of any new system that may come out, whether it's YouTube, Hulu, and the things that we see already existing, or what may come tomorrow. It's not going to be a 2-year development play. It's instant. It's just a matter of giving access to that person, giving that person access to the service through their phone or through the XR.City applications.
Bill, have you seen?
That's huge for us.
I don't know if you can see my screen, but have you seen anybody prioritizing things like, Twitch and SoundCloud? Like, if, these smart TVs in hotel rooms, they're typically app driven, and they typically are a really limited number of apps because these are not consumer focused, right? They're not Roku and so on. So, the idea that we're able to support any web page, right, is a huge idea, because it means that we're not limiting just to an app that somebody sponsored and spent a bunch of money to develop. I haven't walked into a hotel room and turned on the television in 4 or 5 years. But if this was what was, waiting for me, I knew I could get whatever I wanted, and then I can turn on a channel, and if I'm a gamer, right? Now the really big idea is, I'm pretty sure we're gonna get an advertisement here. I'm captive. Oh, I need to not watch a mature on this one. That would probably be better. I'm captive in this space, right? And why is it that I'm, that Fox or CNBC or CNN is getting the money for the advertising? That seems weird to me. I'm stuck in the hotel room. Why shouldn't Kroger, pay the hotel to hit me with a big ass format advertisement where I can take action right here on my phone? And again, we have not done any optimization for this. Also, from an interactivity point of view, how cool is this, right? You've got chat here with the group, and I can be chatting here, but I'm not watching the movie here. I'm watching the movie there. This is a huge idea. I mean, the applications are limitless. And that little movie thing, that is ultimately doesn't know this is me because I'm not logged into anything right now, but if we made that connection, if you combine that notion with what's happening here, and then you say, this is Fortnite, we're just doing Periscope, like these are not applications that are gonna be prioritized by Marriott. But these are the applications that are being prioritized by the next generation. And we don't have to be building apps to keep up with them, because as long as there's a web page, this is gonna work. That's the huge idea for this, right? And clearly we're moving towards a world where these screens, they're everywhere and they're useless today because we don't have this capability. So, that's the big idea. What are some of your impressions? Because I think,
I think it's awesome. So I just put kind of connected the dots and realized that my account executive, Rich, is your AE.
yeah,
So that's why I'm including you. But yeah, no, I think it's amazing. It's really cool. I think anytime you can deliver like a more personalized experience at scale, it's a win for everybody involved. I think
the
it's
level
great.
of personalization here, I mean, we're just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
Content becomes product and service, not just media.
Mhm.
Right, I can now deliver content anywhere. I can get through this door because the hotel said so and because you said so. So your food is waiting in that refrigerator with the suit in the closet and your laundry picked up and with no staff.
Yeah, it's powerful.
It's very powerful. It's really the journey of journeys that we talked about,
Mhm.
I think, in December. So I think we can wrap it up there. If there's anybody else you think I should meet today, we're still trying to get plugged in with Fordex this afternoon and with some other people. But I really appreciate, Charlie, you setting this
Yeah.
up. And
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for taking the time to do this.
Cam, any other thoughts from you? I know we're taking you away from your end of quarter activities, but I'm looking forward to speaking to you after.
No, I mean, again, Will, I can't reiterate enough, and to everybody in the room, how excited we are about this, and this is a fantastic product, and we're very excited to get behind this. This is a completely new greenfield opportunity for a lot of folks to capture shared spaces, absolutely without a doubt. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit there, and this is something that really can change the way people view, see, and interact with content, and we're very excited about it. And I can tell you from the digital signage perspective, here at Google, this is something we've been waiting for a very long time. This is something that we've been asked about. Streaming some kind of TV service or anything like that on Chrome has not been a really easy solution to get that done between licensing and this and that, and as the other gentleman spoke about casting and all that stuff. It's just a very friction-filled experience to get that done. As to where this is so simple, this is so easy. We envision screens being everywhere in the future. We've all seen Minority Report, we've all seen those future movies where there's just a digital personalized screen everywhere. This is that next evolutionary step we feel to getting there.